Today we're going to make an abstract drawing using a vanishing point to make shapes look 3D. So I'm going to start off with a dot in the middle of my paper and just lines in the space around the perimeter of the paper. They could be spirals, wavy, zigzag, any sorts of lines you want. Some people find it easier with shapes, but I think the lines make for a unique twist on this type of design. I'm going to draw guidelines from the ends of the lines and from basically the outside edges of any curves that I have towards the vanishing point. And one of the key things to keep in mind, the way I think of it, is any spot where a line towards the vanishing point would have to cross another line, I stop. Because once it would have to cross another line or shape that I've drawn, that tells me it's behind that other line or shape, so I wouldn't see it anymore. Now, once the entire design is sketched out and you've filled your paper nicely, you're going to outline with markers. In this case, I'm using different color markers to make all of the different shapes stand out so they don't blend into each other. And I'm going with sort of a rainbow pattern. Of course, that's a matter of personal preference. You can do anything you would like, but you are going to trace over all of your pencil lines using a marker. The next step is going to be coloring using crayons. Now, as I'm using crayons, I want to be mindful of a few strategies. I generally start off coloring lightly and just coloring it all solidly one color. One strategy I can use to make my crayon drawings stand out a little bit more is by layering colors to blend. Crayons are fantastic for blending and mixing and creating new colors by layering one on top of another. It's also a good idea to pay attention to how hard you're pressing with the crayon and how that affects the color saturation, how it makes the color look brighter and bolder, or it can make it look pale if you are being more gentle with the crayon because more of the white of the paper will show through. In this case with the orange, I'm using the same orange crayon, just different amounts of pressure. Now, another strategy a lot of people don't think about is using patterns as they color. It doesn't all have to be just a flat field of one color. You can create linear patterns, polka dots, stripes, wavy, zigzag, all sorts of lines and different designs on there. If you're layering different colored crayons, just like layering different colored markers, it's generally a good idea to start with the lighter color first and then put a darker color over the top of that. So it's not an accident that I used orange on top of the yellow. First I used the yellow, the lighter color, then I used the orange over the top of that. I might also use different shades of the same crayon. So in this case I've got different shades of green to create sort of a highlight and shadow effect. There are a lot of different ways that you can color things in, and it's a good idea to think about different strategies, different approaches that will make your artwork stand out from the expected way of coloring using just flat shapes of color. It's also a good idea if you're going to use stripes in the design to think about the direction that you are moving those lines. As a general rule, curved lines will look like they're wrapped around a curved surface. The eye will naturally follow lines, and so if we see that repetition of curved or wavy lines, it sort of reinforces the idea that we have a curved or wavy surface. Now, in looking at this, I thought the white background just didn't look quite right to me. It didn't look finished. So I'm going to use a simple strategy of outlining my entire design using a black crayon and pressing reasonably hard at the edge of my colored shapes and then getting gentler as I go so it fades from black to gray to white in the negative space. That creates a little bit of a drop shadow effect, which is going to help to make these shapes stand out and look like they're popping out from the page a little bit more. The black outline sort of frames the shapes and pulls them forward in the picture plane, but also the way that the black is applied in a gradient creates a little bit of a shadow effect that's going to make it pull out from the surface a little bit further. So that is the basic composition and the strategies used to draw the shapes to make them look 3D using a vanishing point, as well as how to outline and color using markers and crayons to the best effect possible.